I'm talking to the Northampton Borough Council, who are trying to who actually spoke on our behalf to you. They are very passionate about the idea of reshoring the business to Northampton because Northampton is known for its shoe manufacturing. Our shoes last so long that we have a museum for them, you know. So what we're going to do is, the Borough Council has spoken to the Northampton University, and they are going to offer the workers at Beaufort and the Unity Workers Union basically a design course, a diploma in design, and that is going to be at subsidized costs with the help of the Borough Council. So if you're okay with that, that is one solution that we propose. The second solution that we have proposed is that we do have lasting collaborations with the worker union in France and the worker union in Italy. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk to a few designers from those worker unions, and we're going to get them to come and train us free of cost, because we are relying on international relationships. But if that's not possible, then maybe at a minimized or subsidized cost from your end. You know that Milan is the fashion capital of the world, so getting workers trained by the designers from Milan is going to help your designing team very well, and it's going to help with innovation as well. Third of all, one concern that my workers have put forward is that the design is suffering mainly because they have been having, okay, let's not talk about innovation, let's talk about the quality. They have been having language issues collaborating with the Chinese. As you know, not everybody in China speaks English, and as you know, not everybody in the UK, or barely anybody in the UK speaks Mandarin or even Chinese. So for that matter, I do believe that once you reshore back to the UK, interfunctional coordination is going to be a lot better. And it's going to be a lot easier for the designers to collaborate with the workers in order to get the best quality products across, because there are going to be no language or cultural issues. A lot of time, a lot of petty issues that come up in culture, such as how we address them or how they address us, actually lead to a lot of friction between the two divisions. And that is going to end once you do reshore back to the UK. And the fourth thing actually, is that the Chinese company proposed that you keep some production in the UK and some in China. And since that is their back now, I suppose, we do believe in okay. You did say that.
We haven't mentioned anything.
You shouldn't consider it background.
Okay, fine. I won't consider it as bad, but you did.
You cannot say that.
But you did say that you're okay with.
We didn't. We haven't said anything like that.
We do have a video recording, you know, we
You
can
can
play it
replay
back.
that. You can replay that.
Did they say that they are okay with you sending some of their manufacturing to the UK and
Oh,
just
that
the
was
parts?
that's supplying of parts.
Yeah,
that's
whatever. So
We have not taken any decision here.
I know.
We
So
are listening to your demands, your propositions.
exactly. So
Our
I
decisions will come at the end of the discussion, because we have to consider so many things. So it's all about listening here. So I don't want you guys to have a discussion about
yeah, but
this.
people should not go back on what they
Okay.
said, right?
We haven't said that we're going to start a small part of manufacturing in the UK.
So
in
assembling
China.
is not part of manufacturing.
It's in the UK, we said, not
Yeah,
in
that's
China. We said we will be supplying the parts there.
Essentially, what I
material.
said is part of the manufacturing moves to the UK, part of it stays in China. Is what I said wrong?
Manufacturing, you said. We're not talking about.
Assembling is part of manufacturing. Manufacturing the parts is part of
I
manufacturing.
think
It's
you're
not
waiting
a-
for the demands, you know.
Yeah. So if people don't interfere, that would be better.
Okay.
Anyway, so what I was suggesting is that a part of the manufacturing, not the parts, but a part of the manufacturing, say the base or the sole or just the essential skeletal structure happens in China, while about 70% of the manufacturing happens in the UK, so that innovation does not suffer, because the sole doesn't require much innovation, so it doesn't require much interfunctional coordination between the design team and the workers. Second, quality will improve because you're sourcing just the sole from China and everything else is going to be assembled in the UK. It is going to get the made in UK stamp. It's going to help you establish trust with your customers again.
Okay, I understand your point, but here is one more concern that I have to do. You were talking about culture, right? We're talking about so much about culture, and your interfunctional coordination is lagging because of the differences in language. What if we are planning to expand into US? What if we are planning to move into Latin America? What if we are planning to move into India? Culture comes into play. You
For
can
what?
never justify that to us saying that interfunctional coordination is lost because there is a problem between communication. If there was a problem, you should have come to us, you should have told us that there has been some communication mismatch between the Chinese organization and yourself and your designers, which we
Actually,
haven't
my
received.
That's how you
And
like
you have
adaptability,
been
you know.
say, you have clearly quoted the point that interfunctional coordination will improve if I reshore. Okay, I am reshoring for sure. Okay, but what if I want to expand my outreach to other countries? Again, you will have to go into collaboration with other countries.
So now that this issue has been addressed, what we can do is before you reshore, maybe intimate us of the fact that you're going to offshore to other
What
countries, and we can actually before you start the manufacturing processes, we can work on collaborating with that particular country and ensuring
The
there is a
concern I have is this collaboration is not a 2 year or 6 month. It never started 6 months. The contract started from 2008. Okay, and if your employees cannot cope up with those kind of language barriers, then how do you justify this point? I can't get it as a management perspective. Okay, we have seen so many MNC companies having collaborations with hundreds of companies around the world. How are they managing their interfunctional coordination? You cannot give that as a point to justify that the design feature is low.
No, actually, interfunctional coordination is again a two-way route. So from our end, my workers have been trying their hardest in order to coordinate with them. But if the other party is not receptive of it, as you have noted, they haven't exactly stuck to all of the points in their contract in the first place. So how can you ensure that they have tried their hardest
Now
to
that's a
collaborate
question
with us?
to the union. Okay, they have given us a point that there has been a communication mismatch between the designers in UK and the manufacturing unit in your side.
Okay.
So what is your take on this? Because this is a very confusing situation. They have a good point.
Ever
on their
since
side
we
also.
had collaborated since 2008. So we have been actually without inter-coordination, we cannot communicate, we cannot pass on the views and designs to each other. So there hasn't been any issue so far. I mean, if there has been an issue, what's the evidence that you're saying that there has been cultural issues and language issues that designer cannot talk to the manufacturing team? There hasn't been any issue so far.
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
At least we address that there is an issue. At least we know that there is an issue and we want to work on it. And
Okay.
that's where we
If, for instance, if we decide to reshore, okay, you're going to address the issue.
Of course we are.
Okay,
We are going to
because
send
of-
workers from our union to China.
How long is it going to take for you to address this issue and get me a profit for the company? And if profit doesn't mean that I am getting everything. There is 300 employees under me, under your union, who are dependent on that. Okay? If you say that you've given that you're going to work with the course with the University of Northampton and you are asking us to fund that.
If
okay?
needed.
If needed, okay? And then you said you wanted skilled workforce and you wanted us to fund for the training as well, some other training, innovation. Okay?
If you want
So-
to, you
so-
can
so- so you
invest.
did tell that, okay?
Okay, one solution that I will propose to that is very flexible on the minimum wage, living wage conditions. So what we can do is, because you're going to be making all of these other investments, and I understand that reshoring is not going to be very cheap for you,
Okay.
we can establish a flexible contract with you, wherein for the first year or so we will work for minimum wage, and after you start actually getting profits, which I suppose you probably might at the end of the year, we will be okay with you giving us bonuses, which would be at least 10% of your profits, or another sum that we can decide upon at the end of the negotiation. So we're very flexible on that. That's not a problem.
So, you're sure that this flexibility is true?
We are sure this flexibility.
We are
from
sure
us. We're going to
that,
sign a contract with you
Okay.
about this.
So, coming back to this, your concern was, one was interfunctional coordination mismatch. Okay. We are not concerned about the transport cost now, because we are able to handle that transport cost anyway. Okay? So that is out of the picture here. Okay? Give us 5 good reasons how reshoring is going to help us, not profit us on us as management, but as 300 employees. I want you to give us 5 reasons to tell me or show me that if I reshore my production here, I'm going to make profit as soon as possible, because at the state the company is in, I don't think it will
understand
never
the
last.
profits. I understand.
Okay,
The profit-
give me 5 good reasons that can justify your talk on reshore.
Okay. So the first reason that has been quoted by 35% of the countries that reshore back to the UK is definitely quality. You didn't have that many concerns with quality, yes, with innovation, but not with quality right before you reshored. So that is the first thing that we assure you of. The second reason why you need to reshore is, first of all, your supply chain and everything is going to be more coordinated because your processes are based in the UK again. Because you were working here before, because you have an established base here, it's not like you have to, it's not like going to another country altogether where you don't have any team, where you don't have any coordination between the teams. You already have workers here, so all you have to do is expand that worker base, expand that manufacturing situation, and end of story. The third reason why you need to reshore back to the UK is in order to gain trust. That's the first thing that you need to do, because the reason why your sales have suffered is the trust that the people have lost in you. The fourth reason why you need to reshore is so you can put that made in UK label, which has a huge, huge, huge value in international markets, on your shoes. And the fifth reason why you need to reshore back to the UK is because you are a UK citizen and you have a responsibility towards this country, towards the environment of the world. China is contributing in the largest amounts to the environmental damage that companies are throwing upon this world today. Of the top 10 countries until 2011 that were causing environmental damage, UK was nowhere in sight. The US was there, China was there. A lot of other countries were there, but the UK is extremely responsible environmentally, and that is a huge concern. The condition of the world today is a huge concern that we all need to address, because it's not just about companies, it's not just about the employees, it's about the coming generations. And if you are a responsible citizen of the country, then you are going to look towards that particular facet of things as well.
That was a big accusation, actually.
Big
Last
accusation.
sentence.
Brilliant
If I am not consider myself, if I'm not considering myself and my company as a part of the UK chain, I would have removed the 300
I'm not
employees
saying that. I'm just saying that if you want to be a more responsible citizen of the country, then you would care more about the employment in this country and the state of this country, wherein more employment is needed, wherein because of the rising income disparity, people at the worker level need to be engaged in more jobs, and you can help create that employment for the country. You can be the champion of the country's workers.
Okay, and there is one more thing. Union has been working out with so many employment groups. You guys know things better than us, right? Now justify your points. You said supply chain will be more coordinated. You'll gain trust. You said the made in UK label, that is reasonably tempting, and the UK citizenship. But there is always a but in business. Okay? If I reshow my facility here, how long will it take for me to start a complete manufacturing unit and get the profit that I want to get in order to pay the 300 people plus the number of people that I'm going to employ as a part of the new manufacturing unit, plus the machinery I have to buy in order to establish the unit, plus the infrastructure cost. How much
As I
do you think?
understand it, isn't the machinery in China yours?
So
you
you
can
want-
just you can
you
just
want
bring
to-
it back to
okay.
the UK.
That is,
But
You
you can't
think
bring
that is-
infrastructure back, right?
you
So-
cannot.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so you think that machinery is there, okay? But you know that the quality is lost because of that also. So if I'm deciding to gain the trust of the citizens here, I can't just bring old machinery from there to here in order to do something. What if one of my workers gets injured because of the old machinery? That is a corporate social responsibility that I have to take into consideration. Everything I have to do as a new manufacturing unit should be new. Okay? Because I cannot take the risk of losing
Well,
my
it's
brand
not
image.
exactly a new manufacturing unit, because you do have some manufacturers in the UK. What you have to do is expand it. And I understand that you are talking about the overheads that you're going to face when
It's
you
not
do
about that. When you said we have a manufacturing unit here, we had a manufacturing unit here, which was disbanded in 2008. The other unit that we have outside town is just the design and marketing base for our company. It is clearly stated in the case study.
You do
and
have,
know.
it is stated in the case study that you do have some workers in the UK.
Do
Workers
have
for
some
designing.
workers in
For
designing
design
and
as well and
marketing.
limited
No,
Can I show you the case study?
Okay, limited manufacturing. Limited
Limited
manufacturing means I need 100,000 shoes a year, pairs of shoes a year. What will that limited manufacturing, what will I use them for? Give me a point that if I reshow the production, if I have to meet the demands of 100,000 pairs of shoes, how many people do I have to employ? There is a statistics that say that for a luxury shoe manufacturing, you need 15 workers to work on one pair of shoes. So if I have to employ people, okay, this is not the automated system. After even the
So when you
automation
reshow, are you
system is
planning to
there,
move towards the luxury line of shoes, or are you planning to stay on the line that you manufacture in China?
let me complete this point so that
I
we
just
can
want to
go out
understand.
of that and then, okay? So this is my case, okay? You have given me so many points. This is reasonably good because I am a UK citizen and I want to add value to my country. But how is this going to, do you think it doesn't have impact on the 300 working here? Do you really feel it?
No, so that's the solution that we have proposed. You don't have to move all of your manufacturing from China to the UK, only about 70% to the UK, which is going to give you that made in UK label. Keep 30% there, we don't mind.
Okay.
We
So
have
you
no
say
system.
that made in UK label, we're going to get it, okay?
Yes.
You know, you are a union. You work for the employees. Okay. You have to consider the outcomes on both the sides. Okay.
See, we
Moving-
do understand that there are a lot of
Okay. See. Then your talk is not reasonable. So, okay. 70% move is not a small thing. Moving 70% of my manufacturing unit from China to UK will cost more than anything. And I assure you, if you want us to move the 70% of the business immediately to UK, there will be no Buford and Sons shoe manufacturing in the next 6 months. We have the proof that it costs more.
Even if you keep it in China, there will be no Beaufort and Sons in the next 2 years. That's the problem.
We can bring in, see, that is the thing that you're not getting, essence. We are thinking on the long picture, okay? We can
That is
bring
what
in
we
the
are looking
reshoring.
at. We are looking at the
You
long
are
term
saying
perspective.
70% move immediately.
No, I'm not saying it.
Okay.
I'm not saying
We had our
immediately.
previous
What you
dialogue with the
can do,
Chinese, right?
what you can do is immediately reshore about 51% of your production, which is the least you need to get that made in UK
Okay.
label. And over the next year, keep reshoring back the remaining production. Or once you start getting profitability from the 51% reshoring, you can move. But then we need it on contract that you're going to move the remaining 20% or the remaining 19% manufacturing to the UK once you start getting profitability.
And there is one more point that was a bit contradictory, okay? You said that we have our machinery there, right? Okay? But I got some evidence saying that as per the contract that we have signed with XFM, we don't have any machinery there. It's their own machinery they are working on. Okay, and we have the evidence here saying that it's their own machinery. So, again, that is a contradiction to your. Even if it is 51% shift, we are in a
Well,
situation
without a
where-
51% shift, you are going to sell shoes that are made in China. You are still not going to be able to be profitable, which is what you, in the end, desire. So, I mean, that's a call that you have to make. Without that 51%, you cannot get the made in UK label. That's the
If
end.
they give us quality
But
shoes.
I have a question.
But what is the surety that your customers are going to buy?
You know, I've been listening these things labeled UK from last half an hour. So basically, I don't think so there is a big difference between the UK label and the main thing is should be your quality. And the name is your company is going to be representing your quality and demand, what you need. So I don't think so if there is any difference between that label.
I would like to support them on this point,
Yeah.
okay? Because I have already mentioned you about one of the companies in Taiwan, okay? They use made in China
Made in
label,
Taiwan.
Made in China.
made in Taiwan label, okay? They are using it in big brands and they are
And there
exceeding
are
in
so many
size.
big brands.
I'm again telling you to
However-
this
China.
point.
However,
I am.
However, the question here is that the reason why your customers have lost faith in that label is because for the past 4 years they haven't delivered.
No, it's
And
depend
now
on
it
the
will be
quality.
very
We
hard
already
for you
given
to
show-
insurance,
there is
okay, if
no-
you're considering
Yeah.
reinsuring back to UK, okay, you have to think about loads of things. It's
Loads
not
of
just
things.
innovation and design comes into the picture, there are hell lot of things comes into the picture.
Yeah.
First, how you gonna, how you gonna take care of
And
the
you
new
just want to take
infrastructure?
your company for the
New
label in the
guide,
UK.
training, okay,
Okay,
expenses,
see,
machinery,
you are going-
logistics.
Please, are you talking about your infrastructure?
Compared to the UK's infrastructure.
See, that is our concern,
Oh, yeah.
okay? That
Yeah.
we can decide either way.
Yeah.
Okay, if you want any infrastructure changes in your company,
That's all right.
that's your proposition to
Yeah.
us, okay? That is the reason we did not bring in that topic to the Chinese, because it's a direct contract between the union employees and the people of UK. So if we could either set up a business in UK or
We
stay
just
with
like to
us.
say
But
that, just like to say that has been mentioned that there's been a communication gaps and loads of things. If there is any evidence for that, show it to us. What has been
We
lacking
can
in
collect evidence and provide it to
communication?
you in the next week sometime.
Okay.
For
If
sure.
there has been any document, show it to us. What has been
I
lacking
don't
in
have to
our-
show it to you, actually I have to show it to the UK manufacturers.
But the
because
acquisition
they
has been
want us-
given to us because the Chinese people cannot talk. There's a communication gap. So what
However,
gap?
however, the mediation is happening between the UK people
It is just
and the
basic.
union. We are not legally required to produce any documents to you. We are required to produce documents to them, and we will do that in the coming week. That's not a problem.
Very good.
And if they choose to, they can reveal those documents
Yeah.
to you. We are okay with that.
Thank you.
so,
वकील बैठ
so there was one more claim that we came, okay? You told a point that you have contacts in France and Italy through your union. You wanted to maintain a good relationship with them. So why can't the same
मैं बंद
happen
कर दूँ
in China and